All right, here we go. Marco.
Sean, take two.
You're gonna
Three.
laugh at me now. You're gonna laugh at me now. I'm gonna, since it's a take two, I'm gonna completely restart my thought process because it was actually in my mind before, and I actually mentioned it to Sterling before we started recording. The energy that Sterling has and the passion that Object First has for protecting data for businesses, off the charts, right? Some of the best energy and conversations I think we had during the conference. And so with that, Sterling, I'm thrilled to have you back on again.
Such a pleasure to be here, and thank you for those kind words. We definitely had a blast the last time we chatted, and happy to be here again.
Yeah, and just to make sense of all of this, we are catching up after RSA Conference. I was making a little bit of fun that it's that period of time for us that we go from one conference to the other. I got to remember which one are we talking about now, right? So this is about looking back. What I felt it was a fantastic event. Energy from you, Sterling, for sure, but energy all over RSAC Conference in San Francisco. It's only a few weeks ago. And I'm happy to have this little recap with you. So anything you walked away from that conference that kind of like gave you even extra energy, if it's even possible for you to have more energy?
It actually can, but first of all, I just want to say I barely walked away, okay? My feet still hurt from standing all of those hours on the floor. This was our first time sponsoring this event, and the types of conversations truly did shock me. I mean, we all go to plenty of these shows, and we've been around for a while, and I was kind of on the back-to-back show thing as well. But the types of quality conversations about people who are coming over that are really worried about the state of their data when they back it up. How can they really tell that if they undergo an attack, that they can actually recover? And honestly, a big part of it that not too many people talk about are the premiums. If you're a company, it's yourself, to be able to insure your data and your company as a whole, some of these facets have to be around your data, the biggest one being immutability. So we were there to educate the audiences, and I was there to learn a ton about the state of our security today. So hopefully we can touch on a couple of those topics too.
I think we should. Go for it.
Well, I wanted to get you all's take on what you think the hottest topics of RSAC was. I will throw out my first nomination. I have two, basically. The first one, and it's the two letters that everybody already knows. It's AI. But hear me out. It's agentic AI, the type of AI that can basically take an instruction set and learn to make decisions. While it seems to be something that can really put out a lot of fires before we even know it, really help us in a lot of ways in preparedness, it can also be a bit of a double-edged sword, can it? I mean, if the nefarious forces get a hold of that, not only can they take things down quicker, but that's a lot harder to fight.
Yeah, certainly agentic AI. Even leading up to the conference, I'd seen a lot on. I spend too much time probably on LinkedIn, but anyway, there's a lot on LinkedIn leading up to. I've had a few conversations, and yeah, I think there's a lot still to be done with transforming business processes and business workflows, and I think agentic AI is going to really push things forward there. And I think another thing that I often talk about is kind of transforming security. I think general business transformation has gotten a lot of attention, and now we have a chance to really transform security, and I think agentic AI for that. And of course, when we're talking about data and protecting data, agentic AI can help, and it also can put data in places and collect data and access data in places that you may not be ready for in some cases, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Yep. I think overall, and to connect with this, and I'm going to throw it back at you, Sterling, it's this proactive mentality that the industry is really trying to push, right? Instead of the scare, the fear factor, we are at the point that we know bad things can happen, and we need to do everything we can to be prepared for it. And I think that is at the core of what you guys do for sure. And did you get that pulse as well? Like people coming and be like, yeah, I know I need to do something about it before it happens.
Yeah, and I believe I even mentioned this a little bit when we were talking on our pre-call, but just what I suspected and what I saw the year before has now advanced. And I think even one of the themes of RSAC was many voices, one community type of thing, where we're taking a lot of these they're sort of edge solutions or point solutions and really bringing some sort of cohesiveness to it. Our part of it, immutable data that sits on a zero access appliance, is one part of a larger picture. You still need to have the same set of circumstances when you back your data up. You need to make sure it's encrypted. You need to make sure you have several copies of it. But when that last line of defense is what you need, that's what Object First does. We play a very crucial part, but just a singular part of an overall security picture for sure.
So I have to ask. I mean, certainly a memorable word for me. That's not a word. It's an acronym. UTB. I don't know how many times we said it, but it stuck in my mind. I'm wondering what kind of feedback you got from people hearing that word, and then more importantly, the spell out of the acronym and what it means to them for their business.
I mean, as far as an acronym, it's pretty snazzy because it's literally a dead giveaway. Like, literally, what do we do? What do we stand for? UTB is out of the box immutability. I'm not sure if you guys have one yet. And if not, we're going to take care of this right after. So the next time we jump on, you have this. But we also have a mascot. It's a cute little fluffy but secure and very powerful mascot who's named UTB. And
Nice.
if you guys don't have one, we need to make sure that you all have your very own oopies to make sure that your data stays safe too. But it's a great name. We love to have fun with it, and it certainly is memorable. A lot of people came up inquiring, number one, about the mascot, but also inquiring about why we chose the name Oopie. And it really gives us an opportunity to explain not just about the immutability, but the importance of segmenting the data. Remember, if a bad guy comes in and steals the credentials of your top account, your most powerful account, they can pretty much do anything they want in the architecture. We make sure that if and when that happens, they still can't do anything to change the data. That's the power of UTB.
And did you? I'm not looking for any specifics to throw anybody under the bus, but in general conversations, did you find people kind of thinking, okay, we're not, we know what the best practices are, we know where we should be taking precautionary steps with our data protection programs, yet we haven't reached that? Is there a common theme there that you found?
Absolutely. I think if you even take a step back in our industry, when you talk about zero trust and the processes around zero trust, it's a path. It's really difficult for people to get all the way through that framework model. And going back to the best practices of securing your data, we see that same thing as well. But some of the things that are really gating those people from that, are keeping them from getting to that data backup nirvana, are not just the technical pieces. It's also the budget. It's also being able to afford the literal hardware that you then need so that you can continue to afford insurance. Remember, insurance rates skyrocket if you're not able to prove certain things, like your data is encrypted, in flight, and like that it lands on immutable storage. So we actually did answer that with a consumption service that allows our customers to go out and just pay for just what they use, just specifically amount they use per month. Very amenable terms. It makes the monthly payment pretty much set in stone. But in wrapping back around to your question, I talked to several partners where they knew that their customers needed this type of equipment, of data, or security around their data, to be able to stay in line with certain guidances that they had to, but they weren't able to afford it. They just couldn't. They just didn't have the budget for that. In the same way, this partner was also in the business of building particular boxes that are hardened repositories for these types of clients. And this is even a better deal, they were telling me, than what they could offer them building it on a per box basis. So when we talk about immutability is for everyone, that's really what we mean. Whether it's CapEx and you want to buy a box outright, or whether you are a rapidly growing company and you're growing by leaps and bounds, or maybe you're a cloud first company and you just need to land your data somewhere safe, we can offer you that as well.
I'm going to go back to because I think it's brilliant the fact that you decided to call it like that. There is already a story, but I'm a Star Wars fan, and I know we talked about that the first time it came out. Is R2D2. It's just like and I'm going to refer to one of the conversation that we had there, and it's about how people in general are still very much scared about cybersecurity. When you bring out cybersecurity, it's like, do we need to talk about that?
That's right.
We need to do it in a way that, a friend of mine, Jason, he talked about bringing it as a Kit Kat. Like everybody loves Kit Kats. It's kind of like the cybersecurity is a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
And kind of change the conversation and make it more friendly, more easy to implement, easy to use, and maybe a little bit more pleasant. That is not just this monster. So from a branding perspective, I got to give you that the mascot and the name and what it does. Because you can call it with a cute name, but if it then is complicated, then it doesn't make sense anymore.
It kind of doesn't make sense, does it? No, thank you so much for that feedback. And you really are helping us touch on another point here, which is the reason why we were created is to bring the highest level of security to those backup admins that may not be security experts. And a lot of them really don't know where to start. One of the things that we even do out in the field, and if anybody listening is interested, please get in touch with us, is we do hands-on labs where you can actually build and configure your own UTP. When we say it's box to backup in 15 minutes and you have backups going with the highest level of security, we really mean it. And we offer architects and administrators alike the opportunity to come in, learn about our technology, actually set one up so that when you administer your own, you've already done it one time. And then you can ask experts like myself and my team about how best to place it in the architecture. So this is what we're talking about, like when you're talking about taking security and really bringing it down to the real world to where people can consume it, where people can understand what it's doing to protect their data.
Yeah. And I think overall, this is the message that we try to bring to conferences where we get together, to community, make it a little easier for everybody. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but maybe easier. It's where we want to get.
I'm gonna make one more point before you close, because I'm gonna encourage everybody to listen to our. What's that?
One more question.
It's actually a statement, because no more questions for me. It's a statement because setting it up can be difficult, not when you're working with Sterling and his team. It's the other side of the coin. Also has to be easy, and you have to know that you can trust that you can recover quickly and accurately with integrity. And so we touched on that in our on locations. I'm not gonna repeat that whole conversation, but I want folks to go listen to that one, because to me that's a key point as well. So 15 minutes to get it up and running, but you also have to trust that you're going to be able to recover on the other side if something bad happens. So
well said, Sean.
Yeah. Absolutely. And wherever people are viewing or listening to this, right next to it, we're going to actually leave that conversation that we had on location with you on those comfy chairs over there. And I hope we're going to keep learning in the future about what Object First is doing. I think it's doing something amazing, and we're going to keep going around on conferences, and I'm sure before or later we're going to run into each other again, and we're going to keep having this fantastic conversation.
Yes.
I really hope so. We'll be back out on the road as well. I'm sure we'll cross paths again soon. We have some pretty exciting announcements coming out the later half of this year, so I'd love to be back on and spend some more time with you all then.
Looking forward to
You're very welcome, Sterling. We'll take that energy anytime we can get it, and of course the story and the solution are important as well. But you're a treat to chat with, and hopefully everybody had some fun listening to this. And please do connect with Sterling and the Object First team, and take those steps to get set up and be prepared for something that may or may not happen, but at least be prepared for it.
Indeed.
So, thanks everybody for listening, watching. Please do subscribe and share with your friends and enemies, and we'll see everybody on the next On Location with Sean and Marco.